CD Projekt Red, a fascinating company filled with nothing but just pure talents. Now where do I even begin? Oh yeah, I just remembered, Cyberpunk 2077. A couple days ago, CD Projekt Red showed off the longest gameplay demo that was ever shown in Germany last week. Now take this to a note that this is not a gameplay that was shown to everyone, but only to a few selected people that managed to visit the Community Investor Summit that took place in Hamburg, Germany last week. Now, upon watching the longest Cyberpunk 2077 gameplay footage, with all the explanation filled in by the beautiful developers, a Reddit user named Zood93 wrote an entire review on the gameplay and explained a lot of pros as well as cons in the game, which honestly changed the way I imagined the game Cyberpunk to be like. And I guarantee you guys, after you finish watching this video, your opinions on Cyberpunk 2077 would completely change as well. But I sure cannot promise if everyone will like how the game is designed, so I'm just gonna leave that as a personal opinion that you guys watching this video should decide if this is a game for you or maybe not. Now let's start off the review with the music in game. Now note this, that the gameplay was played live by senior level designer Miles Toast. The gameplay started off with the first mission where V saves a girl in the bathtub, which was previously shown in one of the first Cyberpunk 2077 reveal trailers. The music in the room in-game was playing some sort of a trance or techno in the background, but gotta say, the beats was hammering through the whole body of those who were present in the theater. Miles slowly started driving a bike, showing off all the different radio stations present in the game. From what was shown, most of them was either rock, hip-hop or even electro. But there sure as hell are other genres present in the game, so you don't have to worry about them. One of the most impressive things about the music in-game was with this quest and cutscenes, where you could hear all kinds of noise and music present in the world. Now the interesting fact is that all of these sounds are so well blended that it makes you feel like you're actually present in the world. Especially now that you're playing the game in first person, surprisingly the game is said to be feeling more immersive, just what CD Projekt Red had promised. According to the Reddit user's review, Pacifica is of course not as beautiful as other districts because it's basically considered as a ghetto. But from what was shown, every single inch of the district looks unique, from the building architecture to the types of people present in the world. Unlike any other open world games designing, Pacifica has a whole new layer of different layers, from architectures inside, outside, multi-floor buildings and connected buildings that you have total freedom to enter anyone you like. There were also different types of bridges and tunnels everywhere around the district. The marketplace was completely crowded like no other open world games, and it felt like the world was actually alive. Now when we started walking with Placid, the NPCs in the world actually talked to Placid and we, and there were multiple random stuffs happening around you like it was in real life. The open world is so detailed that when you get to play the game, you would feel rewarding while exploring every inch of Night City. The Reddit user then compared the open world of Cyberpunk with Grand Theft Auto 5 and Watch Dogs 2. And so far he said that those two games felt like a joke after witnessing what Cyberpunk has to offer. He also said that the NPCs in the world actually work like in real life humans. By work, I actually mean real working. Where in most of the games, you have these NPCs designed with a set of animations that keep looping over and over, but in Cyberpunk 2077, the NPCs work like in real life. For example, there was an NPC that was putting the meat inside the machine, and then he uses the machine to cut down this meat into small blocks and then packs it up so that the transporter guy comes inside the room to deliver the packed meat to the seller's room and so on. Now this was just one of the dynamic things that happen in just one small room. Now imagine a whole world filled with all the random things that's happening all around you. Now let's move on to the vehicles in-game. Miles started driving this bike, which surprisingly looked better than what the Reddit user had expected. He said that just by watching the gameplay, he could actually feel the streets and the power of individual vehicles that are present in the game, which was something that players would feel depending on the types of vehicle you drive. The user said that the driving mechanism felt like you're actually driving a bike rather than controlling it. The game allows you to perform various stunts on the vehicle. In the gameplay, Miles was showing off drifting, sliding, and popping a front wheelie with the bike. As we speak, Miles sure did have a lot of fun pulling off those stunts in front of the audience. Now let's talk about the most important part, the gunplay. Now the demo was being played on a controller, so it wasn't as fast and precise as a mouse and keyboard. But from what was shown, the game contained multiple combinations of melee, range, stealth, hacking, sniper, terminator, blades, fist, wires, small weapons, big weapons, and a non-violence option. The Reddit user said that comparing the gunfights with other open world games, Cyberpunk doesn't feel like Bethesda's Fallout combat system. So if that's something you were worried about, then I hope that clears up things for you. Later on in the gameplay, Miles shot a dead body for about 5 seconds. And it actually looked like the body got totally erased. By erased, I don't mean just arms chopping off, but the body turned into something looking like jelly and the entire floor was covered with blood. So far, it is safe to say that the gunplay looks completely unique, like you've never seen before in any other open world games. Now let's talk about the AI system in Cyberpunk 2077. Now the AI in Cyberpunk is definitely not expected to be perfect, but it sure did look pretty good compared to other open world games that has been in the market so far. Now don't forget that the game offers you many different ways to complete your missions or even deal with different dynamic situations in the world. And designing the enemy AI that can revolutionize depending on how every player chooses to play their game is nearly an impossible task for the developers to create in an open world game like Cyberpunk. But from what was shown, the Reddit user did claim that the AI system did perform pretty good enough for this game and definitely was better than any other open world games in current generation. Now the Reddit user did share some information about the Sasquatch fight that Miles showed off in the gameplay. He claimed that the boss fights in the game are going to be really hard. The sledgehammer that Sasquatch holds was causing a massive destruction with a blink of an eye. By the way, if you guys didn't know this already, you can also pick up the weapons from your enemies' hands and you can use their own weapons in order to defeat them. Now in the gameplay, Miles picked up the Sasquatch sledgehammer and destroyed half of the room in the mall. And he also managed to kill Sasquatch using the sledgehammer, and boy oh boy, it sure did look like Miles was having a lot of fun and the fight was also very rewarding at the same time. Now let's talk about the graphics in-game. The Reddit user says that the game had motion blur effect turned on because of the fact that it was running on a cinema screen and not a gaming monitor. In the gameplay, Miles stood in front of a random NPC in the world and zoomed into his face, and you could actually see every inch of his face rendered in really very high quality. The reflections in the open world just looked brilliantly well done and was also really beautiful to look at each part of the night city. The Reddit user says that Johnny Silverhand looked a little bit blurry in the game, but is going to be way more holographic and glitchy as we got to see in the 15 minutes gameplay. The user also says that CD Projekt Red wanted Johnny Silverhand to look more blurry and holographic-like than to look more like a real human being. So far, the graphics in the game looked really amazing, and apparently Miles made an announcement stating that the gameplay build that was being shown to the crowd was a 6 months old build, and the new build of the game will have much improvised graphics as well as some of the new gameplay mechanisms introduced in the game. Now the Reddit user talks about the story, quest, and dialogues. The user says that the storytelling feels like this is going to be the best in class ever. The dialogue options in the game are so well written and the story feels so huge and freaking dark and dynamic all at the same time. The Reddit user claims that Cyberpunk 2077 will be one of the best stories we will ever get to see in a video game. The user says that even if the side quest can be quite complex, you will never reach a point where you didn't know what to do next. The minimap and interface did a really good job in directing the players, and the new UI system and the colors had a more Deus Ex vibes in the user's personal opinions. Now about the destruction in the game. We have already spoken about this destructive environment on my yesterday's video in a complete in-depth, so if you guys haven't watched that video, I totally recommend you guys to go watch that once you're finished watching this video. Now we already know that you can destroy the environment in the game. Now in the gameplay shown, Miles almost destroyed everything that's around him, that it felt like there is nothing left anymore to destroy. Now of course there sure are some indestructible props in the game, but that does not mean that you can break down a whole district, which would make it feel like the game's not realistic anymore. Now these are all the informations we have managed to receive so far from the new gameplay that was shown behind the closed doors, but fortunately the Reddit user took his time to write down an entire review on what he got to see and experience from the closed door event. I'll leave the link to the Reddit post in the description down below in case you guys want to read it for yourselves, and please go show the user some love for breaking down all of these informations. Now if you guys did enjoy this video or even found this useful by any means, then please leave a like on this video, that would help the channel a ton, and subscribe to my channel for daily Cyberpunk 2077 videos, from news to updates and gameplays to leaked informations. So now that you watched the entire video, has your vision for Cyberpunk changed in any sort of ways? Let me know all of your thoughts in the comments down below. With that being said, thank you guys for making it till the end of this video if you guys did make it till the end, and I'll see you all on tomorrow's video. Until then, take care fams, and goodbye.